Ghana. The East India Company had finally begun to set sail for the Indian subcontinent by traveling around the continent of Africa. The Portuguese had already set up a multitude of trading ports and colonies all over the coastal regions of Africa. One of these coastal regions in West Africa was called the Gold Coast. The East India Company had established a new trading port close to the already existing Portuguese one. The East India Company and Portuguese fought over the Gold Coast, and the declining Portuguese Empire had been pushed out. The East India Company would purchase many African slaves who had been captured prisoners of war from further inland. The land was originally inhabited by the Akan people, who were very wealthy from having so many valuable resources within their lands. Angola. The Portuguese had been ruling over coastal Angola, purchasing slaves, until a native kingdom known as the Ambundu kingdoms of Ndongo and Matamba started trying to push the Portuguese out of their lands. The East India Company came and helped them remove the Portuguese colonial rule from Angola. The East India Company ended up taking control of the coastlines for a short time. Cape Colony. Trying to get to the Indian subcontinent, the East India Company arrived in the southernmost tip of the African continent. The East India Company would then establish a settlement called Cape Town as sort of a rest stop for their ships traveling from Europe to India. The East India Company had later imported many farmers from the Netherlands to establish agricultural land all along the coastlines of southern Africa. These Dutch descendant farmers became known as the Boers. The native peoples of southern Africa were the hunter-gatherer Khoisan tribes, and the slightly more advanced and extremely warlike Bantu descendant tribes. Mauritius. On their way towards India, the East India Company had found a pristine paradise island somewhere in the middle of the Indian Ocean. There was no native human population on this island. They named it Mauritius after Prince Maurice of Nassau. A few Dutch colonists started building settlements on the island. They saw the indigenous ebony trees as a tradable commodity to export. The East India Company started importing African slaves to cut down the ebony trees and also work on the new sugar cane and tobacco plantations. An invasive species of monkey called the long-tailed macaque were known for causing mayhem within the colony and disrupted a lot of its